This is The Current Buzz, a podcast powered by Oklahoma Electric Cooperative and OEC Fiber,
dedicated to teaching you what makes us different.
Welcome to another episode of The Current Buzz. Autumn here with Kayla.
Hello, good morning.
We are trying something new today. Last time we joined you from the vault, and we are still in the vault, but we've added a video so you can feel like you're really here with us.
Yeah, you can really feel trapped in here with us. We've got the full steel door behind us with the vault-like latch. We just really cross our fingers every time we come in that we can escape once we're finished. So
that is so accurate. In fact, it even says you are not locked in. You can just push the handle and get out. So this is very, very high-end stuff. We're thrilled that you're joining us. And today we are going to talk about some of the weirdest reasons that people have lost power.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we all know there's, some obvious stuff that can happen. A pole gets taken out, accidents happen, power will go down with that. But there's a lot of reasons behind power outages that a lot of people don't think about. So we're going to dig in.
That's a great lead in. And actually, one of the things that we take really seriously, and Fiber has helped us expand this, is what we call hardening our system and making sure that it's very reliable. So that goes into, we work really hard on making sure that all the poles that we have are sturdy. We hire people to check those every single year to make sure that they can last another year. We've upgraded the wires that we use. Fiber has been a huge piece of that, or what we call make ready. You might talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So as we got prepared to deploy fiber and kind of string fiber throughout our system, some of you may not be aware, but we follow the path of electric with fiber. So if electric is hung aerially, we hang our fiber aerially. If it is buried underground, we follow suit with the fiber and go underground. So when we hung fiber, built fiber throughout our system, it was important that as we hang our fiber on the electric poles, we're confident that those poles have enough stability and strength to hold that extra weight that the fiber adds to the poles. So we went through, we brought in consultants, and the crews got after it, replacing any pole that didn't meet our standards. And Autumn, correct me if I'm wrong, there are different levels and grades of poles, and we don't go with the industry standard. We go above the industry standard, correct?
That is 100% correct. Not just the amount of space between anything that you're attaching to the pole and the electric lines, but also the quality of the pole, the quality of the wire. You hit the nail on the head. So it's super important to us. In fact, there's something called a SAIDI score, which stands for System Average Interruption Duration Index, which is a really long word to say, compared to our peers, how reliable is our service? And actually, we had the best SAIDI score in 2021 that we've ever had. So the average member was out for just 35 minutes, 35.2 minutes. To put that in perspective, compared to people, cooperatives and industrial or in IOUs, so other service providers, we are in the lowest quartile across the nation.
And that 35 minutes is throughout the whole year, right? So all of the outages that any of our members experienced, when you average that out for the whole year, the average member was out for only 35 minutes, which I think is remarkable when you think about how many hours are in a year.
Yeah, no, you hit the nail on the head and explained that really well. April showers bring the need for indoor entertainment. Sooner Bowling Center features 24 lanes for birthday parties, leagues, open bowling, and grub at the Spare Time Grill. They also tout delicious catering services to elevate your next party via Social Butterfly Catering. Visit www.soonerbowl.com today. We also went to the World Wide Web and asked some of our members what had caused some of their outages. The specific question we asked is the weirdest outages, right?
Yep.
We had an overwhelming amount of people reply back with squirrels.
Yeah, those pesky rodents getting up in our lines, getting in our system.
Yeah, so Jerry tells us that. We have Mary had a bobcat.
That is a little bit more than just a pesky rodent. I mean, that would be a little bit more extreme, I think, to see or witness.
And you don't really even think about that, but a huge bobcat crawling up the pole. We have owls who got in the way, hawks, more squirrels, a gopher, which you spoke about this, but for the underground lines, people always think that it's just the overhead lines that go out, but gophers actually pose a huge threat to our underground system.
Yeah, once they get to chewing, they're not very discriminate. They will go through and chew whatever they can find. So I think that applies to electric, unfortunately, as well as fiber lines.
I love that. Once they get to chewing, that's a serious thing. And then we have a couple people, in fact, Linda tells us that her AC unit went out and it ended up being because somebody hit a pole, which also happens a surprising amount of times. That's so tragic and so dangerous, but that we went above and beyond that and actually we replaced her unit for her. So great feedback on that. What's like one of the craziest things that's happened to you?
Oh gosh, I don't know about personally what's happened to me, but I know when I first started here at OEC, I kind of went around and talking with the linemen, talking with people who have been here for a while. I remember one, I can't remember who it was, but somebody was telling me that when you think about underground electric comes up at points called pedestals. So we've all seen them. They're those green boxes that are kind of in every other lawn or so. And I have heard that in the winter time, especially, sometimes, and I'm really not a fan, I start to get a little squeamish with this, but snakes will like to find their homes and create homes in those pedestals too. So that one always kind of sticks with me. It freaks me out, gives me the heebie-jeebies, but I can't help but think of the snakes when you ask me that question. What about you?
I knew exactly where you were going to when you talked about, so they will literally, so they can crawl up from underneath and squeak, because snakes can be so tiny, and they will be wrapped up in there.
Yeah.
And so the linemen have to figure out how to get them out. They've got to figure out if they're poisonous, if they're, ugh.
I know. It's a lot, especially in the winter. Apparently it's a little bit warmer in there than other places, so they tend to find their way in there, which, my heart goes out to all the linemen who have to dig those snakes out.
Truer words. The craziest thing that I think I've ever witnessed, it was actually at our house, is lightning hit our transformer, and it was like this loud boom, and then the whole block, right, goes out. Crazy.
I have to ask, were there any visuals along with that? I feel like people have talked about like a colored light explosion with that.
Yes, so lots of sparking or just very, very colorful reds, blues. It was crazy and so loud.
Yeah.
So loud.
Yeah.
Rose, our daughter, was only about 3 at the time, and she still remembers it vividly because it was such a jarring, this big loud boom, this fire, and then everything goes
and
dark.
Then blackness. Yeah. Dark. Yeah.
One of the other random things that I have learned since working at OEC is that, and this is why you can see birds and squirrels on power lines, is as long as they don't make contact with something else, everything's fine, right? So hypothetically, if I were tall enough to jump up and hang on the power line, it wouldn't hurt me until I made contact with something else, which is why it's so dangerous when somebody hits a pole and the line is down on the ground and touching their car. That's when you can really get into a lot of trouble, because then all that electricity floods through you.
Yep. And I would not suggest trying Autumn's suggestion at home. Do not jump up onto the lines at all. But she is right. Electricity is always looking for a ground. So if it has the opportunity to ground through whatever is touching that electric line, it will. So I think that's where we hear about the bobcat having these larger problems, because they're not just the tiny little delicate bird that can land on the line without disrupting much else. Anytime electricity can find its way to the ground, it will.
Well, and you reminded me of something. One of the things that we do and take so seriously is making sure not just our linemen are safe, but that the general community is safe, right? It's why we take vegetation management so seriously, exactly that reason. The tree touches the line, it's then grounded, and people can get really hurt. We also have something called the Live Line Trailer, and we go not just to schools, but to fire departments all over our area and police departments to teach them, if you are on the scene of an accident where a car has hit a pole, how to do that safely. And really the key takeaway, and our linemen and our head of the Live Line Trailer could go into more detail, but the key takeaway is don't touch it. That you really, the first person on the scene has to be the utility to make sure that the line is no longer active, and it can hurt the people who are the first responders and whoever was in the accident. So a quick plug there for the Liveline trailer.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we talked about people hitting poles. Accidents do happen. So it's super important that first responders know how to be as safe as possible and how to keep everyone involved safe when live electricity is involved.
Yeah. That is not something that you want coursing through your veins, to say the very least.
No, not at all.
Well, we are going to continue this format. We've had great feedback from our members. If you have questions that you would like us to ask or answer, I guess you could do that. And coming soon, this is a little plug, we will be hosting another veteran lineman on the show, because that was such a big hit when Brad joined us a couple episodes ago.
Yeah, I think the more, if anyone out there has stories or suggestions, to Autumn's point, please reach out. Everyone loves to hear these stories, and I think the more we have, or the longer everyone is involved with OEC and the more interactions we have, there's tons of stories out there, and I know I love hearing them. So if you hear of a great story, if you have a great story, please share, because we would love to feature it on our podcast.
All right, well, it's always a pleasure. You can watch us on YouTube or where you get your podcasts, and we'll catch you next time.
Thank you. Bye.
You can find us at okcoop.org and oecfiber.com.
Make sure to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.